Assalamu alaikum, my name is Yasin Naveed and I'm reaching out to you with some critical information regarding the Sheung Masjid and Elderly Care Center project in Hong Kong. Very sadly, on 2nd of September 2020, the Lands Department of Hong Kong visited the construction site and ordered all construction staff to leave immediately, stop all the construction works, and announced that the land does not belong to Ummah anymore. It is very important that we distinguish facts from rumors, and we discuss the background of the project so people can understand why there was such a big delay in the construction of this project. And also we can discuss a way forward which is going to be beneficial, and inshallah, by the will of Allah, we will get the land back and we will start the construction work. But what we need today is to stay united. This video is not a legal statement. This video is just for the information of the community so we can gather support from all of you to work together in harmony, in unity, to get the land back, inshallah. A background about this project is very important, and it goes back to 1979. Do you know that today, in the year 2020, it has been 80 years since a masjid has been constructed for the people of Hong Kong? The last masjid was constructed more than 80 years ago. And as you know, the population of Muslims in Hong Kong has increased dramatically. But still, there has been no masjid construction. Mr. Ali Deen in 1979 realized this fact, that there is a need for a masjid in Hong Kong. So he applied for a piece of land on his own property to be allowed for the construction of a masjid. However, his application for his own piece of land was rejected. Then in 1990, he applied from the platform of Ummah for a location in Fanling to be allotted for the construction of a masjid. However, that application was rejected once again because the government declared that that place is reserved for a secondary school or an educational institution. However, still today in the year 2020, that place is being operated as a car park. Why that is the case, we fail to understand. Then, in the year 2000, the government offered a land in Sheung, Shui, which is the current location, and allowed for Ummah to take the property and do the construction of elderly care center and a masjid. However, a public consultation process continued there onwards for 6 whole years. In these 6 years, there were a lot of protests, a lot of discomfort, a lot of poor communication with the nearby communities who thought it would not be necessary for a Muslim organization or a masjid to be constructed in their community. However, in 2006, the land was allotted to Ummah and the construction was allowed. Still, the land premium was set at 9.3 million Hong Kong dollars. Do you know, for a similar piece of land, for a similar NGO, how much does the government charge as a land premium? That is only 1,000 Hong Kong dollars. But for Ummah, the government said you have to pay nearly 10 million Hong Kong dollars. Why that is the case for the Muslims in Hong Kong? This was very difficult for us to arrange. So for the next 3 years, Ummah went to different countries around the world asking them for support for the premium of this piece of land. Fortunately, some countries agreed, and in the meantime, the generous community of Muslims in Hong Kong also supported, and we were able to pay off the premium and get the land in 2009. However, in 2009, Mr. Ali Deen passed away, and Ummah entered a legal examination of the role of leadership. And so that was a very unfortunate event when there were court proceedings regarding the leadership of Ummah, and that continued from 2010 to 2019. Throughout this process, from 2010 to 2019, while the leadership issues were being discussed in the courts of Hong Kong, the government was updated and the Lands Department extended the lease to 2019 December. So, through this process, what Ummah did was make sure that the legal challenges were solved, the leadership was announced that this is the legitimate leadership, and the project could start construction before 2019. However, during this process, so what happened in those 9 years from 2010 to 2019? Well, from 2010 to 2016, the government of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia came on board and they said that we will fund this project. So the Ministry of Finance from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was made responsible for the funding of this project by the government of Saudi Arabia. So they passed the tenders from 2010 to 2016. There were two tenders passed by the Saudi government in that time, but they were international tenders. They did not seek tenders from local players in Hong Kong, local construction companies in Hong Kong. So the estimates coming from different players around the world were extremely high for the construction of this masjid in Hong Kong. Then in 2017, Ummah actually started establishment of an action committee for the Sheung Masjid and Elderly Care Center. This action committee was comprised of all the major Muslim organizations in Hong Kong. Whoever wanted to participate in the action committee could join. So I'm not saying that every single member from different action committees, different organization was there in the action committee. But what I'm saying is whoever wanted to join, so everybody was invited. Whoever wanted to join could join the action committee, and if they are not part of the action committee, actually it shows that they did not want to join. In 2017, the action committee was established. In 2018, the government of Saudi Arabia actually approved the budget of $39.4 million US. This was formally announced, and it was announced that they will start the construction of the project immediately. In 2019, the Consul General in the Consulate of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in Hong Kong instructed Ummah to start the tenders. However, once the tenders were released in 2018, they started inviting tenders, shortlisting people. Once the entire exercise was done, the Ministry of Finance in Saudi Arabia rejected, saying that we won't want Ummah to do the tendering works because we are funding the project. So we will run another tendering exercise in 2019. So then the Ministry of Finance issued another tender in the end of in 2019. Again, we had the deadline from the Lands Department that we have to complete the project by 2019 December. We have to start the project by 2019 December. We have to start the construction works. So we could not wait for the Ministry of Finance to go ahead and do the tenders again and invite the bids and everything. We wanted to make sure that the work could be started before December 31, 2019. So we asked the Ministry of Finance to give us a special fund of US $100,000, and also we went to the community in Hong Kong to ask for the funds of construction to start the construction of the project. The community, being as generous as it is, they donated very wholeheartedly, and we were able to collect good amounts so that the construction work could be started. The hoarding works could now begin as part of the foundation construction of the project. And so the people of Hong Kong donated generously. We made the plans, and we went to the building department, and the building department had to communicate with so many different departments. Every single thing was approved by the government. In June 2020, which is just a few months ago, the buildings department approved the project, approved the construction of the hoarding works on the site. So it is a very important point to note that in June 2020, the buildings department approved the construction of hoarding works at that site. The Ministry of Finance said that, okay, we can give you $100,000 funds. We had the money. We asked the people of Hong Kong to give the money as well. When all the money is there, when the approval is there finally, the construction work starts in August. And you have to keep in mind that there was a pandemic, there was a social unrest in Hong Kong, and there were a lot of other issues facing the Hong Kong society. So getting an approval in June and starting the project construction in August is itself a very big challenge, which was overcome by the people of Ummah, by the people in the organization of Ummah. The work started in August, and as soon as the work started, on 2nd of September, the Lands Department visited the site and said we won't allow the construction of this project. Now, we have a few questions from the government which we will ask, but what can we do now? That is the biggest question. What can Ummah as an organization and what can the people of Hong Kong do to make sure that the construction work does not stop? We can resume the construction work and we can actually get the project completed as soon as possible. There are many different ways. We can go through the court challenge. We can challenge that in the court. We can go through all of that. But Ummah has already gone through a long legal battle from 2010 to 2019, and it's going to be very expensive, very time consuming, and unfortunately we don't have enough funds to go through the legal battle by ourselves. The other option, which is more which is going to be a bit easier to happen, but it's going to be very difficult to achieve, is to request the Chief Executive of Hong Kong, Ms. Carrie Lam, to actually come forward and use her special powers to take back the announcement from the Lands Department, take back the decision of the Lands Department, and give the custody of the land back to Ummah and continue the lease and allow construction of the works. This is her authority and this is what she can do. Now, this is where the community in Hong Kong comes into play. If you believe that this project has to be completed on time, if you believe that this project is important to you, please go ahead and sign a petition. There is going to be an online petition and a link will be given to you with this video. Please go to that link and sign the petition. Ask every single person in your network to sign that petition, Muslim or non-Muslim. As long as you believe that there should be a place of worship for the Muslims in Hong Kong, there should be an elderly care center. And mind you, the elderly care center is for every single citizen of Hong Kong. It's not reserved for Muslims. And the elderly care center is 70% of the project. 70% of the project is the elderly care center. So please go ahead and sign the petition to Ms. Carrie Lam and ask her to take back this decision of the Lands Department and allow the construction works. Also, very soon on the streets of Hong Kong, in the Masjid, in grocery stores and everywhere in the city, you will see A4 papers with a letter to the Chief Executive. You will fold the piece of paper so that it becomes an envelope. You will put a piece of stamp there and you will post it to her office. We want as many letters to reach to Ms. Lam so that she understands that there is a significance of this project in the hearts and minds of Muslims, not just in Hong Kong but everywhere in the world. We believe that it's very important that all of this is done in the week coming ahead. We need to complete this before 13th of September, before 13th, 14th of September. It's very important that the community comes on board. Please do understand that every single person who has worked on this project has worked as a volunteer. Every single person in the Council of Ummah, in the Action Committee, has spent a lot of time and effort to make sure that a house of Allah is built for the service of the people through the Elderly Care Center. And if it does not go ahead, it is going to be very unfortunate and very sad for the people of Hong Kong that after 80 years, a land that was going to be made a masjid has finally been taken back. Thank you very much, and I expect all of the community to come together. Do not believe on any rumors. Please make sure that you reach out to Ummah if you have any requirement for clarification, and you support as much as possible. We want to make sure that there are 400,000 Muslims in Hong Kong. There are at least 400,000 letters sent to the government. There are at least 400,000 signatures on the petition. Please support this project by your action. Thank you very much.